the system is changing. The system is more complicated than it used to be. It used to be veterans can go file a claim on toilet paper, and I'm serious. I know everyone's heard the joke. It's not a joke. You can submit it in toilet paper, and the agency sign it, and that's a claim. Nowadays they're super formal. There's probably six different options. But if I were to do the math through probabilities, there's probably, I don't know, 20 options, right? If you think about how it's done when it comes to contesting a case right out of straight out of the gate. You got a formal appeal, then within formal appeal, you have three different options, whether you get a hearing, whether you just submit evidence, or whether you do nothing and it's a direct appeal. Well, each of those things are nuanced. And so there's like 3 to 4 options, right? Then after your hearing, you can submit evidence if you want to. So there's a lot of things to think about, right? And then you have the higher level review. Well, do I want an informal conference or not? Maybe you don't. There could be a lot of things. Are you a sympathetic veteran, or are you, abrasive? You may not want to do a informal conference if you're abrasive. But on the other hand, you may not explain it right, and the record may not demonstrate what actually happened, because VR counselors are very frequently either wrong, misstate information, or knowingly misstate information. So at least the ones that are in my opinion poor, the poor quality counselors. So there's that option. Then you have supplemental claims. What's the extent of the evidence that you might submit? Is it outside of 1 year? Is it within 1 year? Are you going to submit a kind of a new issue, an argument that's novel? Well, that might be something to include in a supplemental claim, or new evidence. What kind of evidence? There's a lot of nuances, and as this is becoming more known, these I want everyone. I'm going to dispel a quick myth here. If you're watching this, I'm going to tell you the biggest VSOs no longer handle their own appeals. I'm going to say it again. No longer handle their own appeals. Behind the scenes, many of the VSO community, this includes Disabled American Veterans, the American Legion, VFW, probably I think AMVETS, and maybe there's a couple others, and also the state ones, like here in Minnesota, the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. All of these VSO entities now have hired either private for-profit law firms, or in the case of like MDVA, a private nonprofit law firm to represent veterans. They don't do it anymore. And so they'll do the initial work, sometimes up and through the board, and then if you need to go to appeal, then you'll go up and you'll be represented by these law firms, and sometimes on the way back down by the same law firms. So I just want to tell you that in each of I'm reading some of these comments here. I'll get to you guys in a second. I'm just kind of all right. So in each of these cases, the reality is that appeals are much more complicated. It used to be a thing that you could do on your own. And, while the laws are in many ways more favorable to veterans, certainly over the past 30 years, in my opinion, because of the direct involvement of VA-accredited attorneys and other attorneys that are involved at different stages in the appellate level, holding the agency accountable, exposing when they're wrong. A good example is the Rudisill case that was recently decided at the Supreme Court and now is coming down, and veterans are getting tens of thousands of dollars in additional subsistence that they otherwise wouldn't have received. That's awesome. That is only there because Mr. Rudisill hired a law firm went to some attorneys that are competent, did a great job, got it all the way to the Supreme Court, and won. And it wasn't without the Department of Veterans Affairs and its representation through the Department of Justice that fought back, that had a team of attorneys. Remember, a team of attorneys. These guys have teams of attorneys. An army of attorneys are inside the VA that you're going up against on a regular basis. And if they know that your particular decision is of a type that may tip the balance in favor of millions of veterans, or half a million veterans, they may fight you on it and you don't even know it's happening. All right. So I just want you to know. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's not just this good old boy system that it used to be, where Dick down at the RO could go gone up to the director's office and get things done. It's not that way anymore. The system is much more regimented. Sometimes this is good and formalized, but also sometimes it's bad because people fall through the cracks and it's harder to get justice in a timely way when it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that hard. So going back to, I'm going to get to these comments in a second. So going back to anyone watching this, if you're watching this and you're denied VRE benefits, if you're denied disability benefits, I do work on those, but I usually focus only on the harder cases that are dealing with special monthly compensation and TBI because that's my niche. Those are the cases I really enjoy. I will work on other cases if it looks like it's something interesting to me, but I focus really on kind of higher level stuff. When it comes to VRE, likewise, I help veterans who want to become doctors and lawyers because I want more veterans to be leaders in society, and no one else is doing what I do, at least not this way. There are a few attorneys that do represent from time to time, and I think some VSOs might as well. My focus, though, is on helping veterans become doctors and lawyers because that's what I'm good at, and I enjoy it. And there's a few things that make me happier than getting somebody approved to be, the next Benjamin Krause down the street. As a lawyer or as a professor, depending on what they're doing. So it's something I really enjoy. I get a buzz out of it. I think it's great.